What is up, Intuitive Sheepdogs? Welcome to another podcast episode of the Intuitive Sheepdog Podcast with your host, me, Autumn Schmidt. As always, very excited to have you here. I'm excited to be here. This episode is being done in my car, so if it is not up to sound quality for you, I apologize. But if you hear any weird noises and shit, that's what's going on. This episode, we're going to be talking about fear. I have some stories that I want to tell you regarding fear. Something that happened to me actually very recently, and how it really messes up your life and how you can change it. But before we get into that, I want to shout out our podcast sponsor, The Badge Life. If you're not following them on Instagram, I don't know why not. They post awesome. They don't just post about their clothing, FYI, on their Instagram. They're pretty cool. They post a lot of relevant stuff for us sheepdogs, a lot of videos, a lot of content. But then they also rock a kick-ass apparel line. And the reason why I like it so much is because you can totally rock the incognito look. I've got a hat from them that I bought, and it's black, and it's awesome. You can go see it. You can go see it on my Instagram, but you can't tell that I'm a cop. You can't tell that I'm rocking and supporting a Leo-owned business, but I totally am. So go check them out at The Badge Life on Instagram, or you can go to thebadgelife.com and check out all of their apparel line. So let's talk about fear, okay? And before you hang up, before you end, just give me a minute, because I'm gonna talk to you about it in a way maybe you've not heard before. It's called the Intuitive Sheepdog Podcast for a reason. So I'm not going to be overly spiritual with you, but I am going to be who I am, and I'm going to talk to you the way that I would talk to you if you and I were in person, if you were one of my friends. And I'm gonna share my beliefs with you. And the reason we're talking fear is because I think it affects every single person listening. And the people who are listening, you probably know somebody who is affected by fear and could, use to listen to this. So fear shows up in so many different ways. And this is one thing I want to highlight. Fear, in my opinion, and based off of a lot of the spiritual leaders that I follow, there are only two emotions that human beings feel. One is love and the other is fear. And everything else are simply byproducts of those two feelings. I really truly believe we're either in love or we are in fear. And that's it. And when you're like, no, Autumn, I get pissed a lot. Yeah, but that's fear. And when you address what is making you feel fearful or what is making you feel angry, you will go in and discover, if you go deep enough, that you're actually in some sort of fear. And so and like I said, it shows up in so many different ways. And some people, it does make them angry all the time. That tends to be my go-to, is anger. My whole entire family, it's exactly how they are. They're all Italian as fuck, and that's what everybody does, is they just get pissed. Even though they're hurt, they're just pissed right off. And their anger is a defense mechanism, and they feel like it's keeping them safe. And so now is a really good time for you to take inventory. Is that you? Do you get sad? Do you just get really sad and withdrawn and depressed, and you cry a lot, and you seem like you're just so sad, but the reality is you're really in a ton of fear? Maybe you get super sarcastic all the time. That's just kind of how you mask it, is you're so sarcastic. People don't really know how you feel about things, and you like it that way because you're they don't need to know how I really feel. Nobody really needs to know how I really feel. So you can you kind of hide it with your humor or your sarcasm. Some people hide their fear by just being shy. Some people are naturally just shy, but some people just don't say anything because, they used to say a lot of things. They used to share their opinions about things, and then they got squashed. I think that's important to remember, and I think it's important to be on the lookout for. I think it's important for people to pay attention and open up their eyes and realize when people are coming at us and we feel like they're attacking us, we feel like they're being angry with us, we feel like they dislike us. And I'm not saying that they don't, okay? Like, I'm not saying, like, people don't dislike us, because of course they do, and you dislike other people. I mean, that's kind of human nature. However, you're going to want to take a step back and look and see what they're afraid of. If somebody is just maliciously bullying you, harassing you, just giving you a bunch of shit, if someone's yelling at you, if it's your spouse, think about what it is that what are they afraid of? Like, why are they lashing out like this? Why are they acting like this? I bet they have some sort of good reason in their minds that they're acting like this, because they're afraid of blank, you know? If you have somebody who is obviously overly jealous and gets angry all the time, well, what are they afraid of? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, right? But you have to understand that if that's you, the person that's jealous all the time, then fear is completely running you. You're letting your fears completely run you. And that's not good, right? Why? Because if you're coming out of fear, you're not coming out of love, and love is who you are at a soul level. And so you really want to make sure that you are staying aligned with who you are. And so you don't want to be coming out of fear. You've seen the people that make decisions out of fear, or you've been there when you've made a decision out of fear versus when you've made a decision out of, love, joy, excitement, happiness. And you know what the results the two yield, right? Two very different results and two very different, like, feelings. Like, you just feel one, you feel like high vibe, right? And the other one, you feel totally low vibe. You feel like shit. It's not enjoyable. You don't enjoy it. And so I guess the biggest thing is for me to say this is that, like, I just know that humans tend to be in fear more than they're in love. I think that society as a whole has this, in fear. I made a podcast episode a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, about your body image and, like, societal norms and stuff like that. And if you think about it, that's all fear-based, right? We don't accept ourselves for who we are because we're afraid we don't fit in. We're afraid nobody will like us. Society tells us we aren't, we're not A, B, and C. And so we get afraid. We're like, fuck, we're not. I'm not like that. Like, I'm different than what society says I am. Fuck, no one's going to like me, and we're in fear. We make a lot of decisions out of fear. Fear equals, anger, hopelessness, depression, anxiety. Okay. Depression is if you're fearing whatever happened in your past. You're still in the past. You're dealing with it. Well, you're not really dealing with it, but you're thinking about it. You're chewing it over. And then anxiety is when you're in the future. And so you're afraid. You're just constantly afraid. You're worried. You're concerned about what's going to happen. And the best place for you to be is in the present moment. If you're in the present moment working on not being in fear, your life's going to change fucking drastically pretty instantly. I'm going to tell you a story, and this is a pretty personal story about me. So recently, I've been doing, I've been really busy. So I'm a professor, and I'm helping a store owner out that I know. And I'm working at my agency, that part-time police department. I'm just keeping my credentials. You've heard me talk about that over and over again. And recently I found myself sick to my stomach for 2 days, no appetite. And if you know anything about me, girlfriend loves food. I love food. Like, I love food. And so, like, it's a pretty big deal. Like, when I have a loss of appetite, like, that's a really big deal. And, so I've been feeling, like, depleted. I feel like I've had no energy. I feel sore. I feel achy. For 2 days, I didn't work out or run, which is pretty unlike me. I felt extremely exhausted, angry, kind of on edge. Maybe you can relate to any of this. I don't know. But anyway, so that's how I've been feeling. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm like getting sick. And then like I was in a meditation and it dawned on me. It's like, no, Autumn, you're not getting sick. You're stressed out. And I'm like, okay, why the hell am I stressed out? And then I realized, holy fuck, I'm in fear. I'm in fear because my life is going so fucking great right now that I am afraid of it changing. And like, that's the truth. And so like, I don't know, like financially, I'm doing fantastic. I am hitting my career aspirations. I'm going to be speaking to the military next week. Like, so I'm finally speaking because like one of my biggest goals is to, become a speaker and be an advocate for law enforcement, obviously, but more in the emotional and spiritual well-being realms, mental well-being. And that is one of my goals. And so like I've just lined this up and I've been working out. My body's looking good. Like my spiritual, my spiritualness is on point. I'm meditating, I'm journaling, I'm really in tune with myself. Like things are going good. I've been really consistent with the podcast, the Intuitive Sheepdog, my group program. We've got about 25, 30 members and it's awesome. And like, honestly, it's getting better and better. Like that program is getting better and better every day. And it's blowing my mind. And so if that's something that you're interested in, then, you're going to want to let me know as soon as possible, because when I relaunch, which I will be opening the program back up again, it is going to be, the price will be increasing due to the value. The value is unbelievable. Anyways, and so like everything's going great. And then I think it dawned on me. I'm like, oh fuck, everything is going so good. Everything go to shit. Everything can go. What's going to happen if everything goes to shit? What's going to happen if this doesn't work out? What's going to happen if that doesn't work out? What's going to happen if, and things just started, I don't know. And you know what? And this is what I want to highlight for you. I want to highlight for you that it wasn't this overarching fucking thought that I had in my head. Like, it wasn't on the forefront. It was not in the forefront of my brain. I was not in the forefront thinking, oh my gosh, things are going so good. What if they go to shit? That literally not at all. I didn't even realize I was having that. It was in the subconscious mind. It was replaying over and over and over again. And I kept having dreams, like weird dreams, like just weird shit that would like throw like a monkey wrench into like my life right now, and just weird shit. And I'm like, what the heck, And so I'm meditating and I journaled and I had some excellent like revelations. I had a really good conversation with my mom because she was like, yeah, this is what's going on. Because sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need to be able to talk to somebody who can just, not jump your shit, and give you a bunch of flack for how you feel, but just kind of be like, hey, yeah, so here's the fear, here's what's going on. And I was like, wow, I bet there are so many sheepdogs, there are so many people out there just like me that have no idea that they are stressed out. They have no idea how stressed out they are, but they just know that they're stressed, and they don't know what to do about it. And it's literally crippling their lives. It's got them in bed, it's got them overweight, it's got them eating awful. Like, listen, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not a big, like, you're not going to catch me being like, oh, I am craving a salad. No, like, that's not what I do. I am a carb-heavy girl. I love carbs, okay? Love them. So, while I love to eat organic, I eat primarily vegetarian. Here and there I do have fish, so Episcopalian or whatever the hell they call it. That sounds like, I think that's a religion, but you know what I'm getting at. And so, yeah, like I'm not like this big health, like food junkie, but like when you're eating like cake for breakfast, cake for dinner, and donuts for dessert, like, I mean, and for lunch or whatever. Like that's like, we know, like, that's not good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even eat that bad. And so that kind of shows up when you're scared, when you're depressed, when you're feeling scared. You know, depression is us being scared. It's just us being scared and feeling sad, feeling scared, feeling hopeless, right? And so I want you, I guess I'm telling you all of this, and this like really, you know, private stuff, or I don't know if it's private, it's not really private, but like up close and personal stuff and stories about me, because I just really feel like we all go through it. And I think us as sheepdogs, more than anybody else in the world, we are like, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. What the fuck is she talking about, right? The truth is that's a bunch of bullshit. And if you continue to walk around and act like you're not afraid of absolutely anything, then you, my friend, are probably very emotionally and mentally fucked up. And I'm not saying afraid like you're not going to go forward, you know, and handle when the wolf attacks. That's like not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to get real with yourself, and you need to admit when you are feeling afraid, when you are feeling hopeless and depressed, and when you're feeling these things. Like, these are real human emotions. So normal. So normal, yet so not discussed. And so, like, the society doesn't want to discuss it. And the culture of sheepdogs, law enforcement, first responders, military, the culture obviously lacks that sympathetic, you know, area, and the area of the fact that we're all humans, and we're gonna human it. We're gonna do human things, and we're gonna feel human emotions just like everybody else does. So the idea here is for you to take inventory of what you're doing right now. Like, are you in fear? What are you afraid of? Are you doing some of the things that I found myself doing? Are you overeating, undereating? Are you shaking? Is your heart constantly pounding? Are your thoughts constantly racing? Do your palms constantly get sweaty? Are you going from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and you're never really in the present moment to enjoy the beautiful day that the universe, that God gave us? Like, are you skipping that? Are you skipping being in the present moment and really truly finding beauty in everything? And I mean it. Even as a cop working full time, back before I, really had my spiritual enlightenment, I would focus on that. I would focus on, okay, what is the beauty in what I'm seeing right now, and what I'm doing right now, and who I'm talking to? And things went a lot smoother for me. I was a lot freaking happier. I was a lot happier when I changed my focus and I got out of fear. Does that make sense? So my friend, I hope that you can find yourself feeling less anxious, less depressed, less in fear, and more hopeful, more in the feelings of love. And be more mindful about it. Do it on purpose. Be more purposeful of how you feel, if that makes sense. So many times we're just doing the things. We're just in the motions, but we're not being purposeful with how we feel about things, and our intents and our emotions and our thoughts. And I think being purposeful about what we are doing is going to really change. It's going to change, how you feel. It's going to change your outlook. It's going to change your thoughts. So, sheepdog, I hope that this episode was helpful for you. If you know somebody who could use to listen to this, please send it to them. If you know of an agency with supervisors that are pretty open, they're next level kind of people. They're really big on the emotional well-being of their officers, and they're looking for some resources, send them my way. I'm looking to get in. I want to get in, and I want to help. I want to consult with the commanders and the chiefs, and I want to help them. Whereas I'm mentoring, all of you, and a lot of times, our officers can't get in there and say the things and do the things that I can. And so I really want to help bridge that gap. So if you know of anybody, get them in touch with me. Have them email me, autumn@autumnclifford.com. You can reach out to me on any one of my social media platforms at Intuitive Sheepdog on Instagram, or you can find me under Autumn Clifford on Facebook. That's my maiden name. And don't forget to check out our podcast sponsor, The Badge Life. Until next time, sheepdogs, stay safe.